The chains were not meant to hold bodies. They were meant to break hope. When the alien transport doors slammed shut and the sky swallowed the ship, the silence felt louder than any explosion. Two humans stood on cracked black stone, wrists locked together by a glowing alien chain, heat rising around their boots like breath from a sleeping beast. The planet had no mercy, and the galaxy had already decided they were dead. This was the Empire's punishment. Ronan Hale did not scream. He did not beg. He simply stared at the chain linking his wrist to the woman beside him and smiled once, thin and sharp. "Guess they really want us gone," he said. Lysa Cade did not answer right away. She was watching the sky. Thick clouds churned above them, green and gold lightning crawling through the haze like living veins. The air burned her lungs with every breath, even through the rebreather mask the Empire had tossed at them like scraps. "This world is unlisted," she finally said. "No trade routes. No rescue lanes." Ronan nodded. "A grave, then." The chain pulsed softly, reacting to their movement. Alien alloy. Adaptive. Impossible to break with bare hands. The Empire loved symbols. Chaining two humans together and throwing them onto a death world was not just execution. It was a message. Humans who resisted vanished quietly. The ground trembled. Far away, something massive shifted beneath the surface. The planet was alive. And angry. Ronan tightened his grip on the chain and looked at Lysa. She was younger than him, sharp-eyed, dirt already streaking her face. A systems engineer. Not a soldier. The Empire had paired them on purpose. Two different strengths. Two different fears. They expected panic. They would not get it. "We need shelter," Ronan said. "Storms coming." As if the planet agreed, the wind screamed. They moved together, awkward at first, dragged by the chain until they learned each other's rhythm. Step. Pause. Pull. Adjust. It was clumsy, humiliating, and dangerous. One mistake could break a wrist. But humans learned fast. Jagged rocks rose ahead, carved by centuries of acid rain and seismic shifts. Between them, a narrow canyon cut into the ground like a wound. Hot air poured from it, but the walls offered cover. They ducked inside just as the storm hit. The rain fell like fire. Not water. Something sharper. Something hungry. It hissed against stone, melting the ground where it touched. Ronan pulled Lysa close without thinking, turning his back to shield her as the canyon curved inward. Acid splashed his jacket, eating through fabric before the material's emergency seal kicked in. Lysa stared at him. "You didn't have to." "Yeah," he said. "I did." The storm roared for endless moments. Thunder cracked so hard the canyon walls shook. When it finally passed, the silence returned, heavier than before. They were still alive. That mattered. They followed the canyon deeper until the air cooled and the glow of strange minerals lit the walls in soft blues and purples. The light revealed metal half buried in rock. Straight lines. Artificial angles. Lysa's breath caught. "This used to be a site," she whispered. "Mining or research?" "Empire?" Ronan asked. "Has to be." The Empire did not abandon places without reason. They found an opening. A collapsed tunnel leading into darkness. Inside, the ground was smoother. Metal beneath dust. Old power conduits ran along the walls like dead veins. Ronan knelt, brushing debris aside. A symbol emerged. Human. Scratched deep into the metal. Lysa froze. "Someone was here," she said. "Someone human," Ronan corrected. That changed everything. They pushed deeper, guided by flickering lights that should not still work. Whatever energy source powered this place was stubborn. Or dangerous. The chain tugged as Ronan stopped suddenly. "Do you hear that?" A sound echoed through the tunnel. Click. Drag. Click. Not mechanical. Alive. Lysa's pulse raced. Movement pattern is irregular. Multiple contact points. Ronan grabbed a length of broken metal pipe from the floor. Not a weapon. But humans had never waited for perfect tools. The sound grew closer. Something crawled into the light. It was wrong. Too many legs. Skin like layered glass. Eyes glowing faintly green, scattered across its head. Its mouth opened sideways, revealing teeth shaped for grinding, not tearing. It hissed. Lysa stepped back. The chain snapped tight. The creature lunged. Ronan swung. The pipe cracked against its head with a dull, ugly sound. The creature staggered, screeching as Lysa yanked the chain sideways, pulling Ronan out of reach. The movement was instinct now. Shared. Fast. Another creature emerged behind it. Then another. "Run," Ronan said. They did. The tunnel narrowed, forcing them closer together. The chain clattered, sparks flying as it scraped stone. Behind them, claws clicked, bodies slammed into walls. A door appeared ahead. Heavy. Imperial make. Locked. Lysa shoved Ronan aside and slammed her palm against the control panel. Dead. No power. "Move," Ronan said. She hesitated for half a second. He smashed the panel with the pipe. Sparks exploded. The door shuddered. Ancient systems screamed in protest. Then it opened. They fell through just as the creatures slammed into the metal, shrieking in frustration. The door sealed. Silence returned. The room beyond was intact. Lights flickered on as if recognizing them. A console hummed weakly. Crates lined the walls, marked with faded warnings. Lysa laughed once, breathless and shocked. "We survived," she said. "For now," Ronan replied. He looked at the chain between them. At the door. At the planet trying to kill them. The Empire thought this was the end. They were wrong. Because humans did not need freedom to fight. They only needed time. And the galaxy had just given them a mistake. Outside, the planet rumbled again. Inside the abandoned outpost, two chained humans began to plan. And somewhere far above, unseen and uncaring, the Empire went on believing its message had been delivered. It had. Just not the one they intended. The outpost was not dead. It was waiting. The lights flickered again, brighter this time, as if the room itself had noticed them. Old systems hummed under layers of dust, awakening reluctantly, like a wounded animal forced back to its feet. Ronan rested the metal pipe against his shoulder and scanned the space. The room was small but reinforced, its walls scarred by heat marks and claw scratches. Whatever had lived on this planet had tried to get in before. And failed. "That door won't hold forever," he said. Lysa was already at the console. She wiped grime from the cracked screen, fingers moving fast despite the tremor in her hands. "Power is unstable, but it's there. Minimal life support. Emergency mode only." Translation. Ronan asked. "We're breathing borrowed air." He nodded. That was fine. Humans were good with borrowed things. The chain between them glowed softly as Lysa shifted closer to the console. It reacted to proximity now, adjusting tension, learning. The Empire's technology was adaptive. It assumed prisoners would pull apart. It did not account for cooperation. The console flickered, then projected a dim hologram. The image was distorted, but the text was clear enough. Outpost Sigma 9. Status: abandoned. Last evacuation, 43 standard cycles ago. Lysa's eyes widened. 43 cycles, she whispered. This place has been empty longer than most Empire colonies exist. And still running, Ronan said. Means someone wanted it to keep running. They moved deeper into the outpost, door by door, learning to walk as one. Step together. Turn together. The chain no longer felt like a shackle. It felt like a constraint they could plan around. One room held bunks, stripped clean. Another contained broken tools, corroded beyond use. But then they found storage. Ronan pried open a crate with the pipe. Inside were sealed ration packs. Human-made. He stared at them in disbelief. Lysa swallowed. These are Federation emergency kits. Old models, but still edible. Ronan laughed quietly. Not joy. Not relief. Defiance. So someone made it here, he said. And didn't die right away. That mattered more than food. The ground shook again. This time closer. Dust rained from the ceiling. A low, distant roar echoed through the corridors, deep and heavy, like stone grinding against stone. Lysa checked the console readings. Seismic activity is increasing. Something big is moving. Creatures? Ronan asked. Or the planet itself? Neither option was comforting. They found a map. Fragmented, incomplete, but enough to understand the layout. The outpost had once been large. Mining shafts. Research wings. A landing platform. The platform was marked in red. Structural instability. Of course, Ronan muttered. But it was also marked with something else. A signal array. Lysa's breath hitched. If we can power that, even weakly, it could broadcast. To who? Ronan asked. She met his eyes. Anyone listening? Humans? Aliens? Doesn't matter. The Empire would be listening too. Ronan smiled slowly. Good. They moved toward the central shaft, the path growing more dangerous the deeper they went. The air grew thick with metallic dust. Pipes hissed, leaking unknown gases. More than once, Lysa warned him just in time to avoid a collapsing floor panel. They trusted each other now. Not because they wanted to. Because survival demanded it. The chain tugged as Ronan stopped suddenly. Tracks, he said. Marks in the dust. Deep grooves. Too wide for the insect-like creatures they had seen before. Lysa crouched beside him, ignoring the chain's protest. Something heavy. And recent. The roar came again. Closer. The lights dimmed. Then went out. Emergency red flooded the corridor. Something moved in the darkness ahead. Not fast. Not frantic. Confident. Ronan raised the pipe. His heart hammered, but his mind was clear. Humans did not freeze when afraid. They adapted. A shape emerged into the red glow. It was massive. Four-legged. Skin like lead armor, cracked and scarred. Its head was low and broad, eyes dull but intelligent. Each step shook the floor. A predator that had survived this world long before the Empire ever arrived. It sniffed the air. And roared. Lysa's voice shook. Ronan. I see it. The chain pulled as she instinctively stepped back. The creature lunged. Ronan shoved them sideways, dragging her with him as the beast slammed into the wall where they had been. Metal buckled. Alarms screamed. They ran. Not away. Sideways. Into a maintenance shaft barely wide enough for two people. The beast crashed after them, tearing metal like paper. Ronan spotted a control lever and slammed it down. The shaft door slammed shut behind them just as the creature struck it with bone-shaking force. The door bent. But it held. For now. They collapsed against the wall, gasping. That thing, it wasn't just an animal, Lysa said. It learned. It tracked us. Yeah, Ronan replied. So did we. He glanced at the chain, then at the lever system. A thought formed. Lysa, he said slowly. The chain reacts to energy, right? She nodded. Motion, tension, proximity. And power surges. Her eyes widened. You're thinking of overloading it. Not breaking it, Ronan said. Using it. They moved quickly. The maintenance shaft led to an auxiliary power junction. Old. Unstable. Perfect. Lysa rerouted the flow while Ronan wedged the chain against a conductive plate. The alloy glowed brighter, responding, confused by conflicting inputs. Outside, the beast roared again. The door began to tear open. Now! Ronan shouted. Lysa slammed the switch. Energy surged through the chain, not enough to melt it, but enough to disrupt its control field. The lights exploded. The chain flared blinding white. The shockwave blasted through the shaft door. The creature screamed. When the light faded, silence returned. The chain dimmed. Still intact. But different. Lysa touched it, eyes wide. It's looser. Ronan tested it. There was more slack now. Not freedom. But progress. He grinned. Empire tech isn't perfect. Outside, the Predator retreated, wounded, confused. For the first time, something on this planet had learned fear. They sat there for a long moment, breathing hard. Lysa laughed softly. We just used our execution method as a weapon. Ronan leaned back against the wall. That's kind of our thing. Above them, the outpost groaned again, strained by age and violence. Time was running out. But now they had something else. Knowledge. Hope. And proof that even chained, even abandoned, humans could change the rules. Somewhere far beyond this hostile world, the Empire still believed silence meant success. Soon, they would learn the sound of a mistake. Hope was dangerous. But it was also addictive. The outpost trembled again, a deep shudder rolling through the metal like a warning. Dust drifted from the ceiling in slow spirals, catching the red emergency light. Somewhere far below, something massive moved, its presence felt more than heard. Ronan pushed himself to his feet first, offering Lysa his shoulder without thinking. The chain slid softly between them, no longer biting into their wrists with the same cruel tension. It had changed. Or maybe they had. We can't stay here, he said. That thing will come back. Smarter this time. Lysa nodded, already checking the handheld scanner she'd salvaged from the junction box. Its cracked display flickered, but it worked. Barely. There's a central control hub, she said. And beyond that, the signal array. Ronan's eyes sharpened. Distance. Not far. But the path is unstable. He smiled grimly. Figures. They moved. The corridor toward the control hub was older than the rest of the outpost. The walls were scorched black in places, metal warped as if something inside had once tried to tear its way out. Ronan ran his fingers along a deep gouge. This wasn't just abandoned, he muttered. Something went wrong here. Lysa didn't disagree. The Empire doesn't leave functioning infrastructure behind unless they're afraid of what might follow them. The thought settled heavily between them. They passed shattered observation windows overlooking a massive underground cavern. Below, glowing rivers of molten rock cut through the darkness, lighting the space in pulsing orange. Strange silhouettes moved at the edges of the light, creatures adapted to heat and poison, thriving where nothing else should. This planet isn't just hostile, Lysa said quietly. It's alive. And it remembers. Ronan tightened his grip on the pipe. So do we. The control hub doors stood half open, bent inward. Inside, the room was circular, filled with dead consoles and hanging cables. A massive central terminal rose from the floor like a spine, its surface covered in alien script and human annotations scratched over the top. Lysa froze. Human handwriting. Not neat. Not official. Desperate. Dates. Calculations. Warnings. They were experimenting, she whispered. Humans. Studying the planet. And the Empire didn't like what they found, Ronan said. They approached the terminal. Lysa powered it up, bypassing failing security with quick, practiced motions. The screen flickered, then stabilized. A log opened automatically. Last entry, Human Research Team Sigma. Lysa read aloud, her voice tight. Planetary core exhibits reactive intelligence. Environmental threats escalate in response to perceived control or exploitation. Conclusion: planet resists ownership. Ronan exhaled slowly. So the Empire tried to mine it. And the planet fought back. The log continued. Recommendation. Evacuation. Containment impossible. Signal sent. Ronan looked around. Did anyone answer? Lysa scrolled further. No, she said softly. Silence followed. Not from the room. From the past. Another tremor hit, stronger than before. The floor cracked, a jagged line splitting the metal. Alarms wailed in broken tones. The core's destabilizing, Lysa said. If the planet decides we're a threat. We won't win a fight with a world, Ronan finished. They needed the signal array. Now. The route to the array ran along an elevated bridge spanning the cavern they'd seen earlier. The bridge swayed under their weight, cables groaning with every step. Below them, heat rolled upward in choking waves. Halfway across, the lights died completely. Only the glow of molten rock remained. Something moved beneath them. The predator. Not the same one. Bigger. Ronan felt it before he saw it. A presence pressing against his thoughts, primal and ancient. The creature climbed the cavern wall with terrifying ease, claws embedding in stone, eyes fixed on them. It followed us, Lysa whispered. Yeah, Ronan said. And it's not alone. Smaller shapes emerged behind it. The bridge shook as the main creature slammed into the support structure. Metal snapped. The bridge began to collapse. Run! Ronan shouted. They ran together, chain forgotten, feet pounding in perfect rhythm. A section of bridge fell away behind them, vanishing into the glowing abyss. Heat blasted their backs. They reached the far platform just as the final support cable snapped. The bridge fell. The creature roared in fury from the other side, cut off. For now. The signal array towered above them, ancient and damaged but intact. Lysa rushed to the console, fingers flying as she rerouted power from every remaining system. It won't be strong, she said. But it'll be human. Ronan watched the cavern behind them, pipe ready. That's usually enough. The console beeped. The array powered up. A thin beam of light shot upward, piercing layers of rock and atmosphere, screaming into space. Broadcasting. Not a distress call. A declaration. The message was simple. Human-coded. Impossible for the Empire to erase quietly. We are alive. We were abandoned. We are still here. The array overheated immediately, sparks raining down as the system failed. The beam flickered, then vanished. Lysa slumped back, exhausted. That's all we get. One shot. Ronan helped her sit. One is enough. Because humans listened. And humans remembered. The outpost groaned again, louder than ever. Cracks spread across the platform. The planet was angry now. Fully awake. Lysa looked at Ronan, fear clear in her eyes. If help doesn't come soon. He met her gaze, calm and steady. Then we adapt. Like always. The chain glowed faintly between them, no longer cold. Not a sentence. A bond. Somewhere beyond the stars, sensors picked up a signal that should not exist. And for the first time since the Empire began erasing humans in silence, the galaxy paid attention. The planet answered the signal. Not with words. With violence. The ground bucked beneath Ronan and Lysa as if something enormous had shifted far below the crust. A thunderous crack split the cavern wall, sending shards of molten stone raining into the abyss. Heat surged upward, forcing them to retreat from the platform's edge. The core is reacting, Lysa shouted over the roar. It felt the transmission. Ronan clenched his jaw. Good. Let it know we're not quiet prey. The signal array behind them collapsed in a shower of sparks, its purpose fulfilled. Silence followed, broken only by the deep, rhythmic rumble of the planet, like a heartbeat growing faster. They had been heard. Now they had to survive long enough for the answer. They moved away from the platform as the outpost began to tear itself apart. Walls split. Ceilings sagged. Old systems screamed as power surged where it had no right to be. The planet was no longer tolerating intrusion. Lysa's scanner flickered wildly. Environmental hostility is spiking across the entire structure. We need stable ground, now. Ronan scanned their surroundings and spotted a reinforced access tunnel marked in faded human paint. A triangle. Emergency shelter designation. This way. They ran. The tunnel sloped downward, sealed off from the rest of the outpost by thick blast doors. Ronan slammed the manual override, muscles burning as the chain tugged against Lysa's wrist. Together, They forced the door shut just as the corridor behind them collapsed in a thunder of rock and metal. Silence fell again. This time, it felt temporary. The shelter chamber was small but intact. Thick walls. Shock absorbers built into the floor. Whoever designed it had known this planet did not forgive mistakes. Lysa dropped to her knees, breathing hard. This wasn't an accident. Humans planned for planetary retaliation. Yeah, Ronan said. Which means they learned. The thought lingered. Humans had been here before. Studied this world. Failed. But failure did not mean the end. Ronan examined the chain again. The earlier energy surge had altered it further. The glow was unstable now, pulsing irregularly. Lysa, he said slowly. If that signal reaches anyone, the Empire will come too. She nodded. They won't risk witnesses. And if they show up, Ronan continued, they'll expect 2 broken prisoners. He met her eyes. Not this. The shelter shook as something slammed into the outer wall. Once. Twice. Then stopped. Lysa's voice dropped. It's waiting. Ronan tightened his grip on the pipe. So are we. Minutes passed. Or hours. Time felt strange under the planet's constant pressure. The scanner beeped suddenly. Lysa stared at the display, disbelief spreading across her face. I'm picking up a signal, she whispered. Human. Federation pattern. Ronan's heart pounded. Repeat that. It's weak. Scattered. But it's a response. Not rescue. Acknowledgement. They were no longer erased. The ground shook again, but this time the pattern changed. The violent tremors softened, becoming directional, focused outward, away from the shelter. The planet is redirecting energy, Lysa said slowly. Like it's adjusting. Ronan frowned. Adjusting to what? She looked up at him, realization dawning. To us. The planet had reacted violently when it was exploited, but humans had not tried to control it. They had endured it. The shelter door creaked open slightly as pressure equalized. Outside, the cavern glow dimmed. The hostile vibrations eased. The planet was still dangerous, but no longer actively hunting them. Ronan exhaled. Guess even a hellworld respects stubbornness. Lysa laughed weakly. Or curiosity. The scanner beeped again. Stronger. Multiple signals now. Human-coded. And something else. Alien. Lysa's expression hardened. The Empire is moving. Fast. Ronan nodded. Figures. He looked down at the chain one last time. They meant this to make us helpless. Lysa followed his gaze. Instead, it forced us to think together. Ronan smiled. Worst mistake they could have made. Outside, distant engines cut through the planet's skies, shadows passing through toxic clouds. The galaxy was coming. And humanity would not be silent this time. They stood side by side, chained but unbroken, as the planet rumbled beneath them, not in rage, but in warning. The Empire had returned. And the final lesson was about to begin. The sky split open. Not with lightning, but with fire. Imperial descent craft tore through the toxic clouds, engines screaming as they forced landing vectors onto a planet that rejected ownership. The air shook with their arrival. Shockwaves rolled across the surface, flattening stone formations and sending waves of dust into the sky. The Empire had come to erase a mistake. Again. Ronan and Lysa stood at the edge of the shelter entrance, watching silhouettes descend through the haze. Heavy troops. Extraction units. Clean-up forces. No negotiation teams, Lysa said quietly. No recovery crews. Ronan nodded. They're here to finish the job. The chain between them pulsed, brighter now, unstable, reacting to the massive energy signatures flooding the area. It whined softly, as if confused. Good. The ground trembled beneath their feet, but not violently this time. The planet's movements were deliberate now. Controlled. As if it were watching. Waiting. Lysa checked the scanner one last time. Multiple human signals inbound. Not ships, probes. Long range. Civilian and Federation networks picked up our message. Ronan's jaw tightened. So the galaxy's watching. Yes, she said. And recording. That mattered. The Empire thrived in silence. Humans did not. The first Imperial unit breached the outpost perimeter within minutes. Armored figures advanced through the rubble with practiced efficiency, weapons humming with lethal energy. Their commander's voice echoed through external speakers, cold and amplified. Human prisoners. Remain still. Resistance will result in immediate termination. Ronan stepped forward. No, he said calmly. The commander paused. Confused. Humans were not supposed to sound calm. A shot rang out. Not from the Imperials. From the planet. The ground behind the soldiers ruptured, stone exploding upward as a massive limb burst from the surface. One of the great predators, drawn by the energy, awakened by intrusion, erupted into the open, roaring in fury. Chaos followed. Imperial formation broke as the creature slammed into their ranks, armor crumpling like paper. Energy weapons fired wildly, their blasts carving into the planet's surface. The planet answered. More ruptures. More movement. Heat surged. The ground became unstable beneath the invaders' feet. They are provoking it. Lysa shouted. They don't know how to stop, Ronan replied. The chain flared. Blinding white. Lysa screamed as the energy surged through it. Not pain, but pressure. The alloy could not stabilize anymore. Too many conflicting signals. Too much power. Ronan grabbed her wrist, grounding her. Now, he said. Do it now. Lysa slammed her palm against the chain's control node and rerouted the overload, just like before, but stronger. Smarter. The chain screamed. Then shattered. Not melted. Not cut. It broke apart, fragments clattering to the ground like dead stars. Freedom. For the first time since their sentencing, they stood apart. Unbound. Ronan didn't hesitate. He grabbed a fallen Imperial weapon, its interface screaming as it rejected his grip, until it didn't. Human hands moved fast, adapting, rewriting assumptions. Lysa sprinted to the shelter's exterior relay and triggered the final broadcast. Open channel, no filters. Live. To everyone. Imperial ships. Human networks. Civilian relays. Pirate bands. Neutral observers. The truth spilled out. Visuals of abandonment. Logs from the outpost. The planet's reactive intelligence. The Empire's executions. And 2 humans who refused to disappear. Imperial Command tried to jam the feed. Too late. Human signals flooded in, data mirrors, backups, rebroadcasts. The story replicated faster than the Empire could erase it. Ronan fired once, not at a soldier, but at the ground near the Imperial commander. The shockwave knocked the alien flat. You chained us to make us weak, Ronan said, voice carried across open channels. You forgot something. He gestured to the planet erupting behind them. We adapt. We endure. And we remember. The Imperial ships began to retreat. Not because they were losing troops, but because they were losing control of the story. The planet roared one last time, a warning, not an attack, as the invaders fled its surface. Silence returned. Real silence. Ronan and Lysa stood together on scorched stone, free wrists marked by faint scars that would never fade. The broken chain lay between them. Behind them, the planet settled. Its fury dimmed. Its presence remained. Lysa exhaled slowly. We survived. Ronan looked up at the clearing sky, where distant human probes glittered like stars. No, he said. We were heard. Far across the galaxy, worlds paused. Empires took notice. And humanity remembered what it had always been. Not conquerors. Not victims. But something far more dangerous. Impossible to silence. Impossible to erase. And never again willing to die quietly. The end.